First up, if you've already pre-ordered your copy of John Bolton's dishy new White House memoir, brace yourself for potential disappointment. The Trump Justice Department is suing to stop release, saying the book contains information that could harm national security. That bid looks like a long shot, though, and even if it works, the book's allegations are already making headlines. Adam Riley has more.
The room where it happened is making a splash for painting a damning picture of a president dangerously unfit for office.
Bolton claims President Trump asked the Chinese president to help him win re-election.
Willing to halt criminal investigations to, in effect, give personal favors to dictators he liked.
Reporters should be thrown in prison to reveal sources.
And that is just a partial list. The White House response has been confusing. On the one hand, Trump claims Bolton can't legally share these details.
I will consider every conversation with me as president highly classified.
Then again, he says Bolton could be lying.
And maybe he's not telling the truth. He's been known not to tell the truth.
Of course, so has the president. As for Bolton, after infuriating Democrats for refusing to testify during Trump's impeachment trial, he's become downright chatty.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job.
And now Trump has another tell-all to worry about. Coming in July, a memoir from his niece Mary, who'll share how my family created the world's most dangerous man. But, buyer beware, the president is reportedly considering a lawsuit there, too.
First, Lylah, I've never liked this, and a lot of journalists have done the same thing, saving all this stuff. I mean, Bob Woodward, a lot of people have done it, saving stuff that's perfectly reportable, and then putting it out for a book to make money. John Bolton is essentially doing the same thing, refusing to testify before Congress. But what I don't understand is why the president, if he was going to try to stop the release of this book, didn't do it when it was announced, which I believe was 7 or 8 months ago. I mean, it's already out there.
It is. That's the other thing that's strange is he's suing to stop release of the book, but he's suing the author, not the publisher, not the people distributing it, not the stores that have pre-sold it, not the journalists who are already printing excerpts from it. So this really seems less about stopping the release of a book in order to protect national security than it is about sending a message, perhaps about NDAs, to a former, I want to say employee, though that's not quite the right relationship there. But it doesn't really seem to be much about protecting the country. It seems more about protecting the egos. You can't have classified information that's also a lie. It's either not true and it's not classified, or it is true and it is classified. You can't have both ways.
You know, that's my favorite part about this is that he says John Bolton's a liar and the book's full of lies, but it's also classified information. I don't know how you can have both, but somehow I guess we digress. The big winner here, to me, is Simon & Schuster. They are publishing both of these books, and I think both will be published. I think that the efforts to stop them will probably be unsuccessful. We heard Martha Raddatz in the piece there, Adam's piece, talk about one of the revelations that journalists should be jailed if they don't reveal their sources. The president also said that he thinks that journalists should be executed, that they're all scumbags. Now, those words from another person, not the president of the United States, would be written off as rants and maybe not taken seriously. But again, this man is president of the United States, and his words carry the weight of the presidency. So I think that's still a serious thing, even coming from Donald Trump in a book like this, whether it's true or not. As far as the book by his niece, Mary, I think that one will also be published. There will be a lot of damning things in it. The question to me is, will it make any difference to all those people who will fill that arena in Oklahoma tomorrow night? They believe anything bad about him, it's fake. Will it make any difference in the final analysis? I know that it will.
You know, Emily, to your earlier point of whether or not it is right that journalists or officials should hold back information and then publish it in the form of a book, I don't really have a problem with that, because I think oftentimes when bits and pieces of information that an author is gathering is released, it often is out of context, and it sort of becomes this inflammatory, one item, but doesn't tell you a more complete story. And so what authors do is they gather a lot of these different pieces and they put them within the context of a book. So I think that there's no problem at all with holding this information and putting it in a broader context for someone to really get insight into the person they're reporting on. And having said all that, I think that this information, while interesting, while it gives us another peek into Donald Trump and how he operates, how he thinks, I agree as well with Mike that I don't think that this is going to move the needle at all with those who support him or those who don't. Those who don't will say, yeah, this is just more of the same that we've known all along. Those who support the president will say this is all lies.
Well, journalists who've read the book say that even if it's all true, and it probably is all true, it's a terrible book. It's almost unreal.
Have you read it?
I have not read it, and I'm just following the news coverage.
Okay.
It seems probably sufficient. You know, not to compare John Bolton's book to the Pentagon Papers, but the Pentagon Papers showed that it's virtually impossible to stop the press from publishing. You can actually go after people after the fact, and if there's something that President Trump feels that he wants to sue John Bolton for, he can do that. But you can't stop publication. The Supreme Court has said that over and over again. So that's really not going anywhere. Frankly, the lawsuits seem to be so sloppy that it just seems like the Justice Department is going through the motion to try to make Trump happy.
Well, Lylah, that lawsuit was actually heard this afternoon. We don't have any results yet, but when will we, do you think?
I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell these days when we're going to get results from anything. I know, as Dan said, there's a chance that he could sue again a different time, maybe for libel, maybe for defamation. But it's important to note that true things that defame one's reputation are not libelous.
Yeah.
They're just